still on justice for Mohbad. We've gotten there. This will prove that the wicked can never go unpunished. No, never at all. In fact, what you're about to hear will show that Wunmi is the prime suspect. We are using the word suspect just to be a bit civil because the court needs to do their job. That is why Wunmi must never go unpunished. And the thing about liars is this: they forget so soon and they have to look for more lies to cover up. Unfortunately, Mohbad's mother, probably for the penury, poverty, abject poverty, or is it greed that has soaked her up? In fact, she should be called greed. She decided to root for what she should not root for. She decided to be for what she should not be for. All of this is for her to amass illicit, cursed money. Because if a mother, a real mother, a sensible mother is in such situation as this, she will never go the route that Mohbad's mother went. But I want to say thank you to everyone that stood for justice, for humanity, justice for Mohbad, because we are reaping the dividends of all that we've put into this justice. Just imagine how they came up with lies recently. They manipulated, they found a way to create narratives that does not make sense. It is now glaring to everybody that the mystery surrounding the demise of Mohbad points to Wunmi. What you're about to hear in this video will blow your mind up. Like, it will point to what we've been saying all of this while in parables. This is the real deal. This is deep. This is deep. How can human beings be this bad? Adura, you were upstairs. You were with Wunmi and Mohbad, and you heard, you saw all that happened. Why did you allow your mom at the beginning? Why did you allow your mom manipulate you against your brother? Why did it take you this long? Why? Is it the promise of taking half of what Mohbad has worked for in RIP, in his grave, in the morgue? Is that why? Well, without wasting much of your time, let us watch this one. But before proceed, like and share, please tap on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell.
They said he was dead. Wunmi, yes. Question: whether on that day or thereafter, did you make any attempt to go to that hospital to make a request for the medical cause of death because they were the last to lay their hands on him? Wunmi, sir, ever since my husband had died, things have not been stable for me. Question: did you make efforts to send someone? Wunmi, I did not. Question: you took him from that place they declared him dead to another hospital? Wunmi, yes. Question: what was the reason for taking him to another hospital? Wunmi, because I never believed he was dead. Question: when you got to the gates of the second hospital, what happened? Did they still take him to their ward? Wunmi, they didn't take him to their ward. There is one space at the reception and there was a bed there, but I was outside, still holding my baby. I just saw his cousin fall on the floor, Darosha, crying. So I knew it had really happened. Question: now let's put a connection between the February 2022 event and the 10th September event. If you look at what your husband went through, you know you said he had died before he finally died. Wunmi, yes. Question: now that means if you want the court to believe that's your statement, that means he had been dying. Wunmi, he had been overthinking. Question, wait, don't put Yoruba or African sentiment into what we are doing. You said he had been dying long before he finally died. Wunmi, yes. Question, if you want the court to believe that, that means something must have been in the system that had been killing him gradually. Wunmi, no, that was not what I meant. Question, but that was what you mentioned to the court. Wunmi, I meant he had not been active. Question, you have to be clear to the court. If you are saying he had died, it means he had something in his body system that had been killing him before the last event that killed him. Wunmi, that was not what I meant. Question, so what did you mean? Wunmi, I believe if his brain had not been fucked up, if he had not been having trust issues, if the system had not failed him, just because his oppressors had connections everywhere, and because of what had been happening, how the oppressors made the public feel he was a drug addict, I feel he would have gone to the hospital. Question. I would be correct to say that when you mentioned that he had been dying long before he died, you are only talking about psychological trauma he went through and not the medical cause of his death. Will that be correct, Wunmi? Yes. Question. When you said he had been dying long before he finally died, am I correct to say that you meant that he went through psychological trauma and that has nothing to do with medical cause of his death? Well, will that be correct, Wunmi? Yes. Question. That means if you want the court to believe all that you have been saying, the issue of bullying, the arrest of NDLA may not have had immediate connection with the events that culminated into his death on the 12th of September 2023 medically. I know you had said psychological trauma, but medically, Wunmi, sir, I do not know. You he said they gave him stuff to take. Question. You are going to tell the court what you want the court to look into. I am saying what led to his final death was medically. A medical cause, not psychological trauma. Wunmi, yes. Question. If that is the case, the events of February 2022 can only have link to what happened between September 12th in psychological trauma alone and has no medical effects. Wunmi, yes. Question. We have established that you mentioned to the court that you sat in between Prime Boy and your husband all through the period. The car was parked in him because he was angry when he stepped out of the car. Question. And those people who were going to collect money from him still did not hold him down? Wunmi, no. Question. You have said there was a lot of people moving around asking for money. So those mob were still very much around the vehicle and he left around them who was paving way for him. Wunmi, nobody was doing that. Question. And they did not at any point in time ask for money. Wunmi, some people were still talking. It was crowded. It was a show. Some were still talking at the back, but he had a mission. He wants to go and meet somebody, and he was not answering anybody. And immediately I saw him, and he was angry with the way his friend was talking to him. Question. Then he went to the other side. Wunmi, yes. Question. At what point in time his friend was still sitting in the vehicle? Wunmi, yes. Question. And sat in the vehicle throughout? Wunmi, yes. Question. Throughout the period of their fight, there was no time he stepped out of the vehicle. Wunmi, yes, it was after he stepped out. Question. And you that you were sitting in the vehicle beside his friend, as at the time he left through the other side, you left to call who? Wunmi, the people inside the other Prado. Question. For all the period you three were in the vehicle, none of the security aid was around. Wunmi, we did not go with security. We only went with his workers and his friends. Question. But you mentioned bodyguard the other time. Wunmi, the event bouncer, not his personal bouncer. Question. Those event bouncers, were they not very much close to you when you were in the vehicle? Wunmi, no, they were not close to us. We only went to call them. Wunmi, who went to call them? Question, who went to call them? Wunmi, my husband asked one of the people standing to help him call the bouncer, and when the bouncer came, he said he wanted to go, but the bouncer said he should wait till the other artists finish performing. Question, at what point in time when a feast at that point in time when a feast off ensued between him and his friend, where were they? Wunmi, they were not there. They were trying to control everybody. Question, but when they saw him stepping out of the vehicle, Wunmi, I don't think they saw him. People were there normally before the thing happened, and the bouncer could not stop them because they were much and could not stop them from coming close to him. And when the fight happened, I don't think the bouncers could have suspected that such a thing happened. Question, aside from the fact that this friend got him angry because of the way Mohbad's brother reacted to him, aside from that event, what happened again that made your husband hit the screen of the vehicle to the extent that he sustained an injury? Wunmi, it was during the fight. Question, you have said the door was closed throughout. Wunmi, no, I said he opened it. I think he opened it. Question, don't think. Wunmi, immediately he stepped out, I went to his people in the other Prado, so I didn't really know. That was why I said, I think. It was the narration I heard after the whole incident I'm using to judge. Question, you did not see them fight. It was what you were told when you got back. Wunmi, yes. Question, as at the time you came back, they had been separated. Wunmi, yes. Question, and it was when you were going home you noticed the screen got broken. Wunmi, yes. Question, so you cannot describe to the court the level of the heat of on the car. You couldn't have established how heavy it was. Wunmi, no, I wasn't there. Question, aside from this event, has your husband attended any other show that this kind of scenario happened? Wunmi, no. Question, and there was no time he fought anybody in his lifetime? Wunmi, no. Question, to the extent of exchanging blows? Wunmi, himself and Prime Boy are always having disagreements, friendship fights, sometimes exchanging. Question, hot words? Yes. Wunmi, yes. Question, husband, as a conclusion, is there any way you could say that to the court? Mr. Oyakinde, my lord, will be objecting. The conclusion should be from my lord, the court. I think the question is that from her perspective and from everything that is happening, can she conclude that it is the injection or what? Mr. Oyakinde, my lord, with due respect, sir, we are still expecting the postmortem examination. So whatever she says, the court. It doesn't matter. The question is not a conclusive one. Take, for instance, somebody asks that you gave your husband paracetamol. What led to you giving him paracetamol? It is the same vein you ask the question that looking at all this before the court. Is it the medical, the injection, or the trauma? From your own mind, what is the cause? Some people will say that, do you suspect anybody from the police station? I think this is where this question is going. Wunmi, sir, I do not know. That is why we seek out for an autopsy. The court. She has answered the question. She says she does not know, and that is why she's here. NBA, my lord, that is all. Cross-examination by Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole. Oh, let's go. Cross-examination by Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole. Question, I express my deepest condolence to you. People have asked several questions I intend to ask from the testimony you narrated before this court and from your written deposition. What did you study while in school? Wunmi, English. Question, if I may ask you, you've been using words that repeats itself in your written deposition and your testimony. What does the word oppressor connote to you grammatically? Wunmi, I feel oppressor means people that have more influence than you. Question, good. The court. What is the answer? Oppressor means, Wunmi, being cheated by people that have more influence. Question, how? Wunmi, I don't know. Question, who are these your husband's oppressors? Wunmi, his oppressors are the same people that drove him into depression. Question, do you know them? Wunmi, yes, I do. Question, can you please name them to this court? Wunmi, the label boss and his cohorts. Question, who is the person behind this label boss, and if you know their names, name names. Wunmi, Naira Marley, C Black, My C. Question, who is this C Black? Wunmi, Naira Marley signee. Question, who is My C? Wunmi, he used to be my husband's friend. Question. Do you know his real name? Wunmi. His name is Michael. Sid and I don't know Sid's name. Tunde Sheyi, and there's a guy called West. Question. Like a person who so much loved the husband, can you recall or remember any event where your husband was ever bullied, waylaid, attacked, or harassed in view of your definition of oppression? Wumi. October 5th, 2022, he had issues with his label manager, Tunde, who happens to be Naramali's cousin. He wanted to use Ayan, who was his manager before he got signed as his manager, but the label boss said he doesn't want it, that he would be the one to appoint a manager for him himself, and he has to let go of Ayan, the same person who had been managing him before he got signed to the label. Question. I'm asking you, you said oppressor. Can you please cast your mind back to an event or an action, an act done to your husband that have made you to come to the conclusion that these are my oppressors? Wumi. Ever since Naira Marley appointed Tunde to be his manager, it had not been easy. Most of the work that Tunde was to do, I was the one doing it. For instance, if he needs stylists for his wares, he would always reach out to me. I was in school and I was always shuffling it at that. And at some point, he got tired and he complained to the labor boss that the manager only goes to shows with him and does not do his work, and that he wants to change his manager, and he complained that he's not being promoted enough, and he said he wants to start promoting, and the label assured that the next single, which was Peace, will be promoted, and when he dropped the song it was not promoted as usual. He was worried and he will come to me and I cannot do anything, and because my husband has low self-esteem, no matter how he's hurting he'll say he's fine and he's not fine. And I told him to reach out to the label boss himself, and he reached out to the label boss and he said next time they'll promote the song. And when he dropped the song, we were expecting them to promote him as promised, but nothing was done. And he had a group chat from himself, his label boss, and the manager, Tunde, and they were talking in the group chat. And something led to an argument between my husband and the manager, and he said he doesn't want him again, and that he wants another person, and he's tired of the way he's managing him. And I was in a room with my husband's father because I was 3 months pregnant then. And he came to visit and say hi to me, and none of us knew when he went out. And I went to report to his dad upstairs that Promise was having an argument with Tunde, and I didn't want him to fight, that he should come and help me talk to him because he was in the studio. And while we were talking, I never knew they had gone. And I went back downstairs and I saw that my husband was not in the house again with three of his workers, Ore, Aji, and Damola. And I was worried and I tried calling all of them and they were not picking their calls. And 20 minutes after, another friend called Abraham picked up my call and I heard noises and I knew something had happened. Question. During his lifetime, you and your husband, have you ever taken any step on what to do about his oppression, and what steps did you take? Wunmi. That was when they assaulted him in their house when he went to complain to the manager. Question. Apart from he going to the manager outside the Malian's house, what steps did you take? Wunmi. I was telling him that he was almost done with his time and he had 2 months left and he should just wait so that they can hand over his royalties and catalog to him. But he said he was tired and does not want to continue again. What if they kill him? And I accepted that truly. He sees better than I do and he stopped associating with the Malians. And he had been on his own ever since. Question. I just want to take you to something that went viral. You know, there was a voice note, and I believe you know the voice of your husband. Wunmi? Yes. Question. A voice note that says, Wunmi, I warned you. Don't use that cloth to rub my body again. Do you want to kill me? And he started curse you. Typo. Can you please tell this court what led to that utterance and what kind of cloth was it? Wunmi. After the NDLA attack, I said it to court that he forgot things easily. He was paranoid and in fear and even went as far as forgetting his phone's password. And I was the only person he was having fights with, and he said he does not seem to understand anything again. And everybody was saying he was mad. and he would come to me and ask me, am I mad? And I would tell him, no, you are not mad. The label even told him to travel out of the country for his treatment, that he has something, and he said he does not have anything on his head. Question, is that what led to that argument or utterances? Wumi, that day I was in his house and something happened. He came to me. I left the house angrily, and at that period of time, my husband was not stable to the extent that he forgot his Instagram account password. He did not remember anything. His family knew, and his father had to take him to his sister's house at Songo. But he texted me that he did not understand the drugs they were giving to him. Is that what led question? Is that what led to the utterance? Wumi, the day this thing happened, he said something I was not cool with. And I left the house, and it was a day to my birthday. And because of the whole stress, I have been the one dealing with him. At some point, everybody left him. Question, what was the cloth that he alleged you used to rub his body? Wumi, he alleged everybody of so many things at that period of time. I wasn't the only one. I did that voice note myself. And the purpose for doing it is because he might wake up one day and say, Wumi, something, something. He will end up apologizing to me. And when I say, babe, you said this and this when you were angry, he would deny ever saying it. Question. He also asked you a question. Wumi, where is my other phone? Mr. T. Olawale, Your Honor, we are here for the circumstances that led to the death of Mohbad. So this taking us to whatever happened between them, we are not here for gist. We are here for serious issues. Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole, back to you again, Wumi. Just calm down. Put sentiments aside. Please, what was that WhatsApp message? Why did you seize his phone and got the message deleted? Wumi, I did not seize his phone. That was the phone I was using. What happened to my husband those periods? The same phone he was talking about was the phone I was using. He gave it to me, 11 Pro Max. The same phone he was complaining about. That was the same phone I was using. Those period of time, I understood him so well and that was the reason I did that recording to play to him. The day I heard that voice note, I called his father, his mother, and said, Daddy, Mommy, I am tired. I thought I could cope. And his daddy went to my sister's place to apologize on his son's behalf that I shouldn't leave him. And it came around that same day, I did that voice note, and we went back home. And I did that voice note from a friend's phone. And it was another friend that I stopped talking to that released that voice note a day after my husband died to defame me. Question, please, during the course of your marriage from the day you say your traditional marriage till the last time of his life, did you ever have any cause to get entangled with any other man except your husband? The court, please, let's be careful. You are not allowed to go into her character. Wumi, please let me clear myself. Mrs. Abiodun Kolawole, my lord, I'm not embarrassing her. Please, let's sit down. Ms. T. Olawale, no, your honor wants to rule on that question. Mrs. Kolawole, Wumi, please, you said your husband had a nurse. What is the name of that nurse that treats him often? Wumi, her name is Nurse Fumi. Question, the same Fumi, the one that treated him? Wumi, another Fumi. Question, I'll also take you back to the scene. You said during your testimony there was somebody called Spending that sat at the back of the Prado. Wumi, yes. Question, you were sitting in the middle. Wumi, yes. Question, your husband and prime boy, please, how did it happen? You said the injury sustained was as a result of the fight in the Prado. How did your husband exchange? Wumi, he came down from the car. Miss Oyakinde, she has said he came down from the vehicle and turned around to the other side. By Mrs. Kolawole now. From your exposure so far as a rapper and what you have known so far, please tell this court, when the record label signs you, what is the kind of relationship we should expect? Can you describe how the relationship should be to the court? Wumi, I feel the relationship there should be love, and at the same time, it should be strictly business. Question, let me ask you, from that scene of the accident, you said the blood was not really gushing, just a drop. Wumi, I didn't notice until he got to the room to meet me. Question, when he got to the room, was the blood still gushing? Wumi, it wasn't. I already used my baby's cotton wool. Question, how did you have a bedsheet soaked with blood? Wunmi, the bed sheets. Nothing was soaked with blood, man. It was just the hand that he slept till the next day. His mother, or was it his brother, used the bed sheet to sleep for like a week after my husband died. It was not really gushing. It was just a normal stain. Question: who broke the news of this death in the car? Wunmi, I was not in the car with them. I was not in the car with them. Question: my lord, that will be all for her. The court. Any other question? Mrs. Ogunsami, Your Honor, I don't know if the court can allow me to ask a few questions. I'm grateful. Ms. Akinde, my lord, the same way you did not allow because he is also with the father's lawyer, we have already set the precedent. The court, counsel, I take any other questions. I just asked any other question. Mr. Oyakinde, my lord, he's still with the same counsel for the father. The court. The cross-examination is over now. Now asked any other question. I can even ask the public for any question. There might be a single question that somebody can throw from the public that may help us solve this. This is because it is different from a regular court. Mrs. Oyakinde, I accept my lord, but in this instance, Mrs. Delichi Asagba, my lord, I laid down the foundation for this coroner inquest and I said that my lord, in the judicial inquirer in this matter, as the coroner in charge, she can decide to ask anybody to say anything. She can allow and disallow. The coroner inquest does not go for appeal. So however my lady wants to handle this coroner, please, my lady, you have the court. Every question is important to the coroner. The court. This is the different scenario. This matter is a worldwide issue and it needs every support that can render to the coroner to decide on the cause of death. Please, any other question? Mr. Goswami, Mr. Loba, my condolences. In your written deposition before this court that you swore to on the 25th day of October, in paragraph 3, you said on the 22nd day of February 2022, the deceased, his friend Michael, aka myself, and his friend and his girlfriend Dominica got a call from another of his friends. My question is this: Michael worked for the deceased. Wunmi, Michael did not have any position. He used to be his friend. Question: did Michael live with the deceased? Wunmi, he doesn't. Question: does he go out with the deceased for shows? Wunmi, sometimes, not regularly. Question: they were friends? Wunmi, they used to be. Question: please, can you tell this court at what point Michael and the deceased part ways? Wunmi, it was after the NDLA issue. Question: is it this year? Wunmi, last year. Question: what did you discover on why the deceased and Michael part ways? The deceased told me, that's the woman now. The deceased told me, his father and every member of the family, that he noticed that Michael is acting like an informant to Naira Marley and the rest. He even went as far as saying that there was a time he approached Michael about the way his promotion was going, and Michael advised him and told him to meet a lawyer to fight against the Malians for his royalties and everything, and he followed him to meet the lawyer. And he said he noticed Michael was recording every of his conversation. One thing about my husband is he trusted Michael to some point. So when he got to the house, he narrated everything to me and said he saw Michael pressing his phone. And when he got there, he wasn't saying anything, probably because he did not want his voice to be in the conversation. And my husband still watched to know better. And after the NDLA period, he said Michael will tell him to go to Naira Marley. The Malians to start talking, even though he knew most things he's saying does not tally because of how he's feeling. He will tell him to go there and talk, and whenever they get there, Michael will not say anything. He will just be watching. I was close to Maisi too, and at some point he thought I was working with Maisi for the Malian, and my husband stopped talking to me for a week because he thought we were all together. But when I went to his sister's place at Songwater, the mother, sister, everybody, we did a meeting, and my husband narrated how he had the feeling towards me, and he thought I and Michael were friends. And the mother said her son had said the same thing, that do I have anything in contact with Michael? And I said no. I only know him as my husband's friend and the father, and everybody said I should stop talking to Michael because he's an informant to the Malians, and I stopped, and even my husband stopped talking to him.
Welcome back. As you can see, there is more to what the eyes can see. Still on this justice for Mohbad, so many manipulation, lies. All of this is just to cover up the truth. But I like the kind of attention this Mohbad's RIP got. And this has pressured them. And I want to believe that this will serve as a lesson to whoever out there that you cannot just do anyhow and expect to go scot-free. No, it's not going to work. Not at all. You cannot do anyhow and expect to go scot-free. Wunmi thought that she will find a way around this and take advantage of the few corrupt police officers and also use that empathy, the sympathy that people often shower on women. I've asked this question several times. If Wunmi was a male and Mohbad was a female, and this thing happened, and in fact, let me just put it straightforward. If it was Wunmi that RIP, if it was Wunmi that passed away in this same mysterious manner, Wunmi is the singer. Wunmi went for a show. Wunmi came back with Mohbad. And Wunmi called Mohbad's father, or let's say mother, and announced the demise of their son, of their daughter, I mean. If it was Mohbad that is alive and called the family of Wunmi, telling them that tragedy has happened, and didn't call the father of Wunmi, but the mother of Wunmi, and before the father of Wunmi would come over to the house, Mohbad's uncle, or let us say Wunmi's auntie, had embalmed Wunmi. I want us to see this because when you look at it in the direction of a man, somehow people tend to care less. People tend to see it in a softer light. But if we are to look at it this way, that Mohbad went to show with Wunmi, came back from the show with Wunmi, in between, Wunmi had a fight, allegedly, with a female friend of hers, or something just happened at the show, allegedly. And in between, they got home. Wunmi had a cut. She does not like hospitals, so they didn't go to the hospital. Eventually, Wunmi passed away in this manner. Passed away just like that. Passed away just like that. And you see, and the police now told Wunmi's mother, why did you come to tell us when Wunmi passed away? Why? Why are you coming now? We will not give you any papers to take Wunmi to the morgue. So Wunmi's mother is at home. In this case, Mohbad's mother did not go with them. So it's Mohbad's father. Without any means of preserving the body, he decided on what to do next. Put him under the soil, under the ground, because you can't keep a body to decay and swell up and burst all over the place. You need to do what you need to do before the body begins to be, become something else. So Wunmi's auntie had embalmed. Then all of a sudden, the police said Mohbad is the prime witness. That is what they want us to believe, because they didn't arrest her and she was never interrogated. So if we look at it this way, do you think justice has been served? And if you look at it, all of a sudden, we now see the family of Wunmi, let's say Wunmi's mother, now sat with Mohbad saying, no, it is not possible, against Wunmi's father. Wunmi's father is saying, no, What happened to my daughter is mysterious. We need to get to the root of this thing. And Wunmi's mother said, no, I'm going to sit with Mohbad. It is not true. Mohbad is innocent. Mohbad is innocent. That is how horrible, terrible this is. What do you think about it? Drop your comment, please. Like and share. See you in the next update.